So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And today I'm delighted that we have back with us Sharon Watson, MBE DL, who's the CEO and principal at Northern School of Contemporary Dance. So, Sharon, thank you for spending a bit more time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, the school, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Fabulous. How lovely to be invited back. You don't often get a second chance in some of these spaces, so I'm really pleased about that, Chris. Thank you.
Very
Um,
welcome.
as you've said, I'm Sharon Watson. I'm MBETL, and I am the CEO of the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, which is the only conservatoire outside of London that offers what we offer. So we're quite specialists in
Yep.
terms of offering contemporary dance, and we have circa 300 students on a day-to-day basis. We run a theatre, we have an extensive education department, and we are growing exponentially as I speak.
Wow, that's amazing on all fronts, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of people to have coming through on a regular basis. So, is are primarily your students local, or is there, are
We
they?
No, we have quite a mixture. I mean, percentages in terms of we're getting less and less local, which is a real challenge for us.
Yep.
We have those a lot of the local within our education in terms of our learning and participation.
Yes.
But then as we get into the degree, the undergraduates, we've got quite a mixture. We've got some international students. I would say maybe 20% of our intake is international,
Yep.
but then it's a national program. So we are really well spread across the countries.
Wonderful. And we spoke sort of this time last year, I think, for memory. And I'm keen looking back over the last 12, 13 months, what's really changed for you in the bit and the school since we last spoke?
Yeah, we started 2026 really hitting the ground with a lot of success, but then obviously that success didn't happen overnight. We've spent the last year really working at trying to put this into the space. So
Yep.
um, where do I start? We were successful with quite a few of our bids, and
Yep.
this is not about the money. This is about the opportunity and the change that we've been working for, and with our staff here to be able to consider how we make our offer much more
Yep.
relevant to
Great.
today. So our theatre is going to be under refurbishment for the whole of the summer. We've got some new technologies coming in, which I'm really excited about. Um, and we've been really fortunate and thankful to the OFS and the Wolfson Foundation to help us to really think about our technical delivery, the
Yep.
whole AI space, the digital technology that will enhance students' experiences and
Yes.
provide them with better opportunities in the future. So we started the year by figuring out how we're going to get that done. You don't spend 1.6 million just willy-nilly, so you've got to really calculate how that's going to happen.
Yep.
That's been exciting. We also started the year celebrating our 40th birthday. I don't know if I mentioned that previously, but
Oh, wow. Well,
we are 40 years old. As young as we are, we're as old at our business as I'm sure many others would understand that years of
great.
doing what we do as a specialist is really important. Successful with the Heritage Lottery that kind of just acknowledged that our history needs recording,
Yep.
celebrating, and the relevance of it. Because when you look at our community, I don't know, we're based in Chapeltown, Leeds,
Yes.
and it is such a diverse community.
Yep.
And it's remained a diverse community, which means that we have a lot of people, a lot of communities that we connect with and we talk to, but all communities are not the same. So
Yeah.
we need to understand how we work with them
Yes.
independently, but also collectively. So we've been having reunions, we've been having
Lovely.
gatherings in the synagogue part of the school. We've got a party in the park coming up. We've got recordings. We're going to have a publication coming out as well as a gala performance. So we're really using our history to talk to our young people and to talk to our future facing self
Wow.
around what it is that how we're going to continue doing what we do.
Amazing. And I don't think I asked you last time, but in terms of sort of members of the general members of the public, is there an opportunity to come and see what you're doing? I would say get involved, but just maybe just to understand more about all the amazing things you're doing.
Absolutely, and we really do welcome that. I mean, we are a school. Of course, we've got
Yes,
certain aspects of our business that
of
are
course.
confined, but there is part of the business that we run a theatre. It would be wonderful for anyone, local, further afield. We run probably the biggest. It's small, but we probably run the most dedicated dance house in the north.
Yep.
and we have that on our doorstep. So it'd be really wonderful to know what people would like to see. We
Yes.
program. We're an NPO, which is a national portfolio organisation, which is funding from Arts Council England,
Yep.
and we've been successful in continuing that relationship with Arts Council. So another success that we're recognised as one of those in the portfolio that offers above and beyond, I think, a creative opportunity, and that goes kind of the length and breadth of creativity. So our young people benefit from that. Our children and young people, our theatre shows. So we open to the public. The doors are definitely open, and we welcome the feedback. As well as we help to develop and create support artists along their journey. So we have a
Yes.
development program within that. It's a small amount of money, but we make sure it's very, very stretched.
Brilliant.
And it's producing the results, which I think is absolutely wonderful, which of course, any organization that receives public money, you want to see the return
Yep.
on that. It's happening here.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm guessing that, obviously there's been some real successes there, but I guess there's always a few challenges on the way.
I think the challenges are interesting because they get shrouded somehow because when you're here, it's an infectious space. Believe me, if you've
Yes.
never been to the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, I do encourage you to come and see who we are.
Brilliant.
You walk through the doors and you suddenly feel something's happening.
Yeah.
Not the fact that you've got, students all over the place kind of really thinking about what they're doing and engaging and also having a wonderful time. But
Yes.
the challenges are the things like I mentioned earlier around the fact that these young people have dedicated their time and their commitment as well as financials to come and be here to study for a future that
Yep.
actually when you open the doors and you look at it, you go, who has a future at the moment? It's those challenges because
Yes.
we've got so much going on in the world, and they're conscientious individuals. They are curious individuals. This is the kind of the values and the principles that we work with within our organization. From the
Yep.
staff, students, and anyone that comes to see us, we have these very strong values around connecting and being part of the community, being part of
Yep.
the future. What does that look like, and what do you need to change to become someone that isn't just part of the problem? You
Yep.
you kind of have to consider yourself a solutionist in some shape or form, and that's quite hard sometimes when you really think that I haven't actually got a penny to rub together today. I actually am on free school meals. Is that still going to be available to me? I
Yeah.
haven't got money to pay for my kit or to be able to transport into the city centre to be able to go and experience other shows,
Yep.
experience other performances. So there's a lot of challenges. And the business day to day, we're an education establishment, we're forever in need of finances.
Right.
And that's getting quite a challenge.
Yes.
But believing that somewhere along the line it's going to happen. But we encourage other people to come and support us with that. Whether you are a business or whether you
Yep.
just want to be able to help young people, we really do reach out for that.
Yes. Yeah. Let's hopefully one or two people that are watching might want to get involved. I'm really keen to understand. So I am just for clarity. So do you have open days? Is there something on the website we can go and go? Can we visit? What's the
Absolutely.
mechanism?
We've got an amazing, we've had very complimentary comments on our website about the website itself. If you're not someone that's wanting to engage as a student, then how can you contribute to the
Yes.
school itself? How can you also come in and see what we've got going on?
Yeah.
Our open days, our heritage days. So I
Great.
think we're due a heritage day soon. It's coming up maybe in May, where
Great.
we open our doors and anyone can come and ask questions. We have 3 blue plaques on our building. So come and
Oh
figure out,
wow.
find out what they're about. There's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of history in not only in the building but in the location. And the
Brilliant.
people that still work here, they carry a lot of that with them. So
Yeah.
we're very fortunate to have people that have been working here for a long time.
Yes.
And of course, we have those that are transient.
Yeah.
It's all part of the business, but we do have that history at our fingertips.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And obviously, there's so much going on, both good, wins and win challenges. What else do you think would you say have learned about growing, maintaining an organisation of significant size that you have? I know you've sort of 300 students. I'm guessing staff levels must be quite high too.
Yeah, the cost of keeping people in a job, minimum wage, these things that really matter
Yep.
to the everyday. It's a conversation we have with the senior leadership team consistently. And
Yep.
sometimes I also think, and I know this might sound trivial, but you kind of have to keep things in perspective,
Yep.
quite substantially in perspective. We're not doing brain surgery in this organization. So
Yep.
let's not get so hyped about the things that actually Let's deal with the things that we can fix. Let's make
Yeah.
people feel comfortable. Let's make sure that we're having communication, conversation, and let's see where we can really just settle that negative energy.
Yeah.
Because you can't really think straight when you're dealing with all of
Yeah.
that noise. So how do we do that? We constantly are talking. We are constantly visible. So you need to be in the space to understand how you pick up that energy.
Yeah.
And as simple as it sounds, that can really make or change your day.
Yeah.
How you integrate with the students, or even how you manage a particular problem that lands in your space.
Yes.
So there is something about just finding your energy with the people that need to help you,
Yeah.
because there'll always be something bigger and more fierce on the other side.
Yeah.
Let's kind of work together to be collegiate around that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not saying it takes away the fact that we still have paper documentations where people are harassing you around information and unnecessaries, but we do try to make sure that we keep things in perspective.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I think it's very easy when clearly yourself, and I'm sure your team are very passionate about what you do, and passion is an emotion, but excessive emotion doesn't always get our message across effectively, doesn't always represent us in the best light, especially when it becomes negative emotion, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's
It,
definitely. And
it's
I think when we're trying to, when we're, we do, I have been doing quite a bit of lobbying for the arts
yes,
because, you know, it's just one of those that just, oh, it's a nice to have. It's the
I,
soft skills.
I
It's
really
and the
understand that.
language
Yeah.
gets diluted in such a way that actually, if you can imagine your world without the arts in
Yeah.
it, then I don't know if I want to be in that world.
Yeah.
Because we cannot survive without it, even though we think it's not a relevant
Yes.
or an important part. There's nothing that we do that doesn't involve creativity. And somewhere, you know, some of these dancers that we have here will go on to work. They may well go to work in banking. They may well go on to work in other areas, but the skill set that they bring with them
Yep.
is actually a skill set that we've talked to business leaders. And
Yes.
it's like, what are the things that you value about the
Yeah.
students, the people that you're employing now? And it is that real thing around, you know, when we call it soft skills, no, actually they're cognitive skills.
Yeah.
And because we have those, our business functions better, our
Yeah.
communication functions better, the relationship between people is better, the thinking processes are different. So we take it for granted that these things are not valuable or they're just soft skills that everybody has. I can't take it for granted that that is the case because we spend years developing those. We spend years telling the students how important that is to them and how
Yes.
that can cross over into any sphere of their life.
Yes.
So, and the confidence that it brings, I mean, that's one of the words that a lot of business users
Yeah.
use with us. These young people are confident, and that
Yeah.
confidence allows them to step into territory that perhaps they wouldn't even
Yeah.
question. So, we're doing a lot. We might not realize how much more we're offering, but it is there. And I do value the fact that actually we are instrumental in delivering some of that.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I'm sure, and there's I'm going to talk about quotes in a second, but there is that quote about you don't miss something till it's gone, and I think
Yeah.
that's the challenge, isn't it? Is you start to think about where dance, where music, where the arts have a place in your life. You mentioned before. I was just thinking then, 40 years, obviously, as an organisation. 1986. There's a good soundtrack to my life from 1986, long time ago. But yeah, and they just go, yeah, okay, and I'm personally not particularly musical, but as I say, 86 was a pretty good soundtrack to things that were going on right then. And without that, if with the absence of that, life is so less rich. So I can
So much so. Yeah.
totally understand. And I mentioned quotes or sayings. I think we probably talked about this last time, but do you have any favorite quotes or sayings you catch yourself using about business, leadership, success, life in general that you can share?
Oh, bless you! Kind of caught me off the hook there. But I mean, I had a all school gathering on Monday when the school comes back after Easter, and we're there with the staff and the students. And I think it's just one of the things around, you know, it takes a village to grow an individual.
No, love it.
These quotes, I couldn't tell you where that quote's come from.
No, it's
You know,
great.
if there's the strength of going forward collectively, if you want to go fast, go on your own. If you want to, I don't know if I'm not even quoting this correctly, but if you want to go far,
Far.
you
Yep.
need to go
Go,
together.
go, go together. Absolutely.
Absolutely. all of those things really matter when you're looking at an organization like ours that
Yes.
requires the students never leave us.
Yeah.
And that is something that we absolutely pride ourselves on, that although you're out there in the wide world, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You know where you can pick the phone up, you can send an email, you can come back into the building, you can find individuals. And it is our responsibility. You know, we spend years with these young people telling them that the future is there for them to take hold of. Um, we can't then suddenly feel that we can abandon them. Of course, those that choose to
No.
come back with various news, opportunities, challenges, conversation, support, mentoring, all of those things that really matter as
Yeah.
you begin to forge your future. So yeah, I do tend to use quotes, I have to be honest, but I usually have them ready. But
It's all good. It's all good. It's I love collecting them, and I think again, it's just something that I think is worth sharing. But yeah, yeah, let's go. That one is a wonderful one. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with others. And I
yeah.
think that team is interesting because I say, I mean, my background's more in sport, and there's definitely a lot of that sort of community in sport, but in the arts as well. And it's you learn so much by being part of a team.
Oh, it's
Um, yeah.
we had U Dance, which is a national program, but in the north of England, and
Yep.
it's regional. And, I don't know, there must have been maybe over 200, 300 young people that participated in that event at the weekend. It was hosted by Yorkshire Dancers, the kind of the facilitators of that opportunity. And I sat there on Saturday night and just went, my God, we are so well served by our young people through
Yep.
their creativity and they just what they offered on that stage. And some of their lives are not easy.
Yep.
But some of them, who knows what's going on in the background. I mean, we have that here as well. There are young people that become carers before their time. There are
Yep.
young people that have these challenges, and then we've had the whole COVID scenario, and we've had
Yep.
various, and now we've got a war
Yep.
or two or three that we're
Yes.
having to deal with, and that's the life that they're moving into. And you just think,
Yep.
my goodness, how do we build resilience in our young people to understand that the beauty of the arts is there to support them and help them, not
Yes.
just a recipient of something that they pay and receive.
Yes. That's an interesting point. We talk a lot in business, in the business world that they operate in, that young employees are different than they were, let's say, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And often they want part of that is knowing they want more experience, they want to feel more valued, and that they want to have more of a purpose. And I wonder, are you seeing that in the young students that you have as well through the school?
I think it's definitely been evidenced in this space. And what's also wonderful is that they are encouraged to
Great.
ask the questions. They really are, and it's
Yeah.
not being confrontational.
No.
It's back in the day, I wouldn't ask the question. I would just think it and try and figure it out. Whereas now, I feel there is a way to ask the question that enables them to understand better.
Yes.
Now, that can't be criticized as a negative. It's just their curiosity. We encourage them
100%.
every day to have that curiosity. So we can't then suddenly say to them, don't ask us the question. And actually, for us as well, the question when it arrives, if we don't have the answer, you've got to be honest. We don't have the answer. But something, it's quite a nice journey to take to see if we can figure that out together because
Yep.
there's got to be learning for both parties. So it's just, again, a different tone, a different change of how we encourage and not feel that we're being challenged negatively around
It,
the curiosity and what the world's pouring into our spaces.
yeah. It's really interesting because questions by their nature can't really be um there can't really be anything other than a question. I'm trying to think what I mean by that, but we're not expressing an opinion. Now, you can falsely express an opinion with a question, like, would you agree with me? That's not really a question. That's just me telling you what I think. But a true inquisitive question is just a question.
Yeah.
Can I just ask why, what's the evidence behind that? Why do you think like that? That's not
Where
saying
do
you
you get
shouldn't.
it?
It's just, and
Yeah.
we do a lot of it. Obviously, coaching is something that we pride ourselves on asking great questions. But great questions for me are the simpler the better. You know,
Mm,
because that opens up so much more than a very specific question.
mm.
So yeah, it's really interesting that questions could be taken as anything other than a desire to learn.
It is
Um,
absolutely. And some of them are complex. I mean, you
yeah.
asking someone, why do I feel like this today? It was like, okay, that's interesting. We've got to unpick some of the other
Yes.
things that have impacted you. But then you begin to understand the individuals. And, with
Yes.
those young minds, you start to educate them in a way that molds a future person that can open up and not
Yeah.
feel that they're being pressured, or can open up and not feel so vulnerable. Because I think when I think back to COVID and how vulnerable everybody was, it threw us all in so many different
Yes.
directions, and we're still picking those pieces up
Yeah.
today, which is sad. And
I agree.
it's, who knows if there's going to be another COVID around the corner.
Yeah.
No, they keep saying that it's not gone away, but how do we cope with that? How do we prepare ourselves for it without just shutting ourselves into a corner? Which is not a reality and then a way of living.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still a lot of dialogue to be had, and the
Yes.
generosity of conversation needs to be at the forefront.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. No, I love that phrase. And on the learning front, Sharon, what would you say? What else would you say you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far?
I've got to pace myself, and I've been really, really trying to pace myself because, I mean, I've not really finished telling you about the successful things that we've got going on.
Oh goodness, well please keep going. No, wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
I just think, I mean, tomorrow we're going to be performing. The school are over at the biggest fashion ball in the city. It's incredible. Our students are getting real wonderful opportunities. But I don't know if, again, I should have mentioned, if I didn't last time, that we've been going for degree awarding powers.
Right.
And
Oh wow.
yeah, we got it. So
Well done. That's amazing.
isn't it?
Oh
Isn't
yeah.
it? I just can't, I mean, I know that I can't believe it. We did the work, we've done it. And we will continue to do
Absolutely.
the work. Come October the 29th,
Yep.
Chapeltown will have its first cap and gown ceremony,
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. That really is wonderful. And
isn't it?
and I'm guessing that allows you to draw, you draw a lot wider audience. Yeah.
Yeah. We've already onboarded some, I mean, the school is growing. It really is growing. And
Yes.
because we've got the ability to award degree powers, it just means that people are seeing us, and actually it's like, yeah, the Northern School can do that for us. And so
Yep.
uh, taking on board new students, taking on board, they continue to do what they're doing in their environment, but we are their validating body. And I'm so proud of that because, we've always said in the north of England, we can do this. And I'm not hammering the south. There's a lot that goes
No,
on in
no.
the south, a lot of competition in the south.
Yes.
And actually that it doesn't work for everyone. So the
Yeah.
fact that we can offer absolutely high quality, the equivalent of what is going on in London in a space that
Brilliant.
looks different, feels different. Yeah, we're really proud of that. So cap and gowns in Chapeltown in
Wow.
29th of October.
That's gonna be really cool. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. And I'm keen to get your thoughts on one of the sort of constructs we have within Action Coach from an organizational perspective is that the most successful organizations are the ones that can work independently of their leaders. And obviously you just mentioned about pacing yourself. How well is the organization structured to create that level of independence? Now, just so we're clear, that doesn't mean it has to work without its leaders, but how good are you at delegation, at structuring a leadership team to support you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very confident. I mean, if I wasn't
Brilliant,
here for the next 2 weeks, the place isn't gonna
brilliant.
fall down, and decisions can be made, absolutely. And actually, even if they're the wrong decisions, this is what I said to my team, even if they're the wrong decisions, if we need to undo them and we can rectify the problem,
Yep,
that's fine. But a decision
absolutely,
that's different to my decision doesn't make it wrong. And so I
absolutely.
guess, yeah, the realities of that is very interesting. I mean, I say I'm pacing myself because we've got such a busy year, and I think about it. I thing that I need to do also is there's different ways of leading. There's different ways of being at the front and
Yep,
not be at the front.
yep,
So,
yes,
when I really think about the management and kind of empowering other people to make decisions, then I have to embrace what they do and support them, even if it's different to mine.
yeah,
They're not necessarily running, they're not the
absolutely.
accountable officer, that stops with me, but
Yep.
they can make decisions that are not necessarily the ones that I would have made.
Yep.
But it's
It,
also the recipients of that information need to understand that that's actually valid, very valid,
yes.
and we can work with different forms of engagement on those decision-making processes and outcomes. So I like that. I think I like to challenge my own leadership
Yep.
because, quite frankly, at this point, I shouldn't necessarily be in the building 24/7. I don't have to be, but
Yep.
my
Brilliant.
job is also taking care of spaces, other spaces elsewhere, which,
Yep.
and I'll share this with you. It's not a bragging moment, but I am very proud of it. Last month, I went to an award ceremony and I won. And I
Oh,
won
wonderful.
the award. I wasn't going to go, by the way, but I turned up and having had a really rough day in the office, and I turned up and I walked away with the award. And the award was for the lifetime business award, lifetime achievement for business. And I was like, oh my goodness, what does that mean?
Well done.
Really, what does that mean? That
Yep.
you don't ever put yourself forward for these things, but somebody has taken note of
Yep.
what's going on. And I was so proud. I am
Wonderful.
unbelievably proud of that achievement
Absolutely
because, like I
wonderful.
said, yeah, being in those spaces and actually being
Yep.
present in those spaces for the right reason and the right purpose, it really matters. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm kind of smiling still at that one.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. That's absolutely brilliant. And looking forward, you mentioned there's lots going on. What does the future look like for you in the school, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
The challenges I think we're facing is also making sure that our recruitment stays
Yep.
buoyant.
Yep.
Now, that is, I guess everybody's got that issue of making sure that recruitment continues, and that people actually, when they step into a space, that they can be in that space, they can live in that space and grow in that space. So, I would say that's our biggest challenge is the kind of making sure that recruitment remains at a level that enables us to operate. Our other challenge is that we are still growing our estate. I mean, we're occupying this space, and I didn't think it was possible until they showed me how it works. Over 120% occupancy, 120%. I was
Right.
like, yeah, which is great, but it's unhealthy because the building is absolutely getting battered.
Right.
And there's no more space to grow. So we have to look at developing the estate. So the
Yep.
positives also brings us with other challenges. And yeah, that's something that we're working on really quite rapidly at the moment. It's just
Brilliant.
trying to develop the estate. And that's another world that I have limited experience in, but I'm learning every day.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And is there any other new initiatives that we're looking forward to? Obviously, you mentioned the graduation day, but any other initiatives you're launching that we should be looking out for?
I would say that, I mean, we've got new programs coming on board and our recruitment, which for those that are interested in how the school is growing and expanding, I mean, we've got the digital world that we're going to be tackling at some point soon. This
Yes.
new equipment that we have will enable us to really think about the courses that we're designing to be able
Yeah.
to make sure that they are well equipped for the future. I think health and well-being is our other agenda. We've got some real deprivation through health and wealth
Yeah.
that could be challenged through creativity
Yeah.
in the best possible way. So we are just getting our thinking caps on around how we utilize and how we become much more functional in that space.
Yeah.
Um, so that's something else to look out for. And to look out for our programming in terms of, the new shows that we've got coming up. Our students are always ready to perform for you.
Brilliant.
And I'm sure that you'll enjoy. I don't doubt that there'll be something that you will enjoy
Fabulous.
in the theatre, the Riley Theatre.
Brilliant. Uh, Sharon, congratulations for everything that you've achieved, with 40 years, your award, the changes you're putting into place. And again, I mean, it'd be great to catch up again in another 6, 12 months and just see what's next for that. But for anyone that's watching that'd like to get in touch with you or the school, what's the best way of engaging?
We have an info at Northern School of Contemporary Dance. I think
Yep.
that's the easiest way. The emails will always get to me. It just means that my inbox is not overflooded. But I would love to hear from you. I really would. I think sometimes the conversations outside of this building can really
Yes.
inform and influence. So I value that very much.
Yes.
And we are a business. We are absolutely a business. If you feel that there's support
Yep.
that can be offered,
Yep.
or even just a coffee and a conversation in terms of thinking, have you thought about this, Sharon? Because I'm living this on a day-to-day basis,
Yep.
and sometimes a fresh pair of eyes and ears and a conversation. I'll buy the coffee. I'll be quite happy to do that.
Well, if
Um,
If I can help in any way, I'd be delighted to. I really would. So maybe we can make that coffee happen. That'd be great.
I
Um,
would appreciate that so much.
but I did urge other people watching to look to how they can support you and how they can support as a business. What other things we can do? But no, I'd love to do that. We'll make that happen. Um, and yeah, please keep going. It's great. It's everything you're doing sounds amazing, and it clearly you're great. Just taking the school to different levels of success. I really wish you all the best for that and for the future.
Thank you so much. It's been a real
Thank you.
pleasure.